If one of my assistant district attorneys had acted this way, I would have disciplined them. So I'm disciplining myself. I will take ethics training to remind myself that professionalism matters. I've been humbled by my own stupidity, and I am fully to blame. I will make this right. I ask for your forgiveness. Yes, it is. You can call Dennis Kohlmeyer right now.
Okay, I'm telling you why I stopped you. You didn't stop at all. Officer Christofoli, can you stay over here, ma'am? This is a traffic. This is a legal traffic stop. Do you have your ID?
No, it's in my purse.
Get it. We all have bad days at work.
And I'm going to go in the house. Seriously, this is ridiculous.
No, this is a traffic stop, and you, out of everyone, should know that this is what my chief wants. That's at the end of the day. You called him. I spoke to him on your phone, and this is what he wants.
I'm going to call him again.
Okay.
I was just on the phone with the chief.
Okay.
I'm the supervisor with her now, so.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't want to pull over on Phillips Road. It was just, I figured I'd just pull it to my driveway.
Okay. Well,
And I called Dennis and I said,
okay.
That's me that they're trying to stop.
Okay.
So that's the end of story.
Okay, but you should know better, right?
I was speeding. I know that.
Okay, so why didn't you just stop like you're supposed to?
Because I didn't feel like stopping on Phillips
Well,
Road at 5:30.
that's not your choice. You know that.
Well, I made it my choice.
Okay, well, now you made it a bigger deal than it needed to be.
It's a really bigger deal. And when people start coming, it's a much bigger deal.
Well, you caused that, Sandra. Well, what do you want us to do? Not do our job because it's you?
No, it's fine. I said, write me a ticket. But I was just saying, I was not going to stop on Phillips Road at 5:30.
Okay, well, you broke another law because of that, right? And you should know better. That's not a traffic ticket. That's an arrestable offense, Sandra. You know this.
Yeah, I mean, I was just assuming that you all knew that I live here.
They don't. So that's why we are where we are.
I am the DA of Monroe County.
I understand that, but that doesn't give you a right to go 55 and a 35. And you even admitted to me that you went 50. I understand that, ma'am. I understand that.
You know what? If you give me a traffic ticket.
All right, ma'am. So I'm issuing you speed in zone 55 and a 35.
That's fine. I'll take care of it since I'll be prosecuting myself.
Okay. At the end of the day, if you see my lights and sirens behind you, and obviously they're going off, just pull over. We can have a conversation and be on our way. I kept my eye on your vehicle. I'm not going to check my computer to see what plate it is if a vehicle is not stopping for me. I want to keep my eyes on that vehicle for my safety, so I make it home at the end of the day. Okay?
I apologize, but
I'm sorry that you had a bad day,
yeah.
and I'm sorry it went this way, but I do respect what you do. Have a good day, ma'am.
But I would say.
So, Sandra, I'm going to start with a question I think everybody wants to know.
Sure.
Why didn't you stop?
I have no good answer for that. I regret what I did. I am sorry for what I did. If I could go back in time, I certainly would handle the situation a lot differently. I wish I could say this is why I didn't stop, but I have no good answer. I made a mistake.
What were you hoping to achieve by calling the police chief 3 times during that incident?
So the context is, you know what, I work with law enforcement every single day. I have every single chief's cell phone in my phone. When I realized that the officer was attempting to pull me over, I wanted to make sure by calling the chief that he knew it was me and that I wasn't a threat. That first call lasted approximately 18 seconds. Can I tell you exactly what was said in it? You know, I don't remember. Was that the wrong decision? Obviously, yes. It was wrong. I made the wrong decision and I regret it.
You were trying to get out of the ticket.
At that point, I wanted the officer to know that I was not a threat. And I'm sorry for that.
Why not just pull over and tell him you're not a threat?
I don't have a good answer for that. I made a mistake. I was not thinking clearly. It all happened so fast. If you understand, you know, the area where, you know, I first saw the officer to my house, it was a little over a minute. The whole thing unraveled so quickly. I made a lot of mistakes. If I could go back in time, I would certainly stop and handle it differently, but I didn't, and I was a jerk.
You told the officer to, quote, get out of my house when he followed you home. You resisted his commands. You went into your SUV. You went into your house. And at one point you called him an ass. Anyone else who did that likely would have been cuffed and arrested.
I absolutely regret everything I said. I really have no words for my behavior. You know what? I could tell you that I had a bad day. There were things on my mind, but really that is no excuse. I was wrong. Police officers deserve to be treated with respect. Me, of all people, I've been the advocate for that in this community, and I failed immensely. I owe that officer an apology. I owe law enforcement an apology. I have nothing else other than to say, I am sorry, and it wasn't me. That's not how I act.
If you saw body-worn camera video of someone in your position who ignored those commands, would you push to charge them with more than just a speeding ticket?
What I would do if I was reviewing something like this, I would look at the whole circumstances. Just like we do every single, case that comes in the office. You've got to look at everything that was going on, and I think that's what should be done in my case.
Were you under the influence of any alcohol, any drugs, prescription or not, at the time of this incident?
Absolutely no alcohol whatsoever. I left work at 5:20 and went right home. No illegal drugs. I'm always on prescription chemotherapy drugs that I take, at least 3 to 4 times a week.
But not under the influence of any.
Nothing illegal, and nothing that I believe would have affected, my ability to make a decision. I was stupid, Jen. There's nothing else I could say, and I regret what I did, and I'm really sorry for it.
It looks like to the community this is a clear-cut example of rules for thee and not rules for me.
I understand that, especially with members of the community. For example, white people and black people, I submit law enforcement differently, the criminal justice system differently. But all I can tell you is, as a DA, what I perceived. My initial thought, actually, when I saw the police officer turn around, I thought he was going off to another stop, that he got a call for service. And then when I called the chief, my goal then was to say, I'm not a threat, because I didn't want him to think he was approaching a car and not knowing what to expect inside.
Have you spoken with the police officer since this incident?
I have reached out twice to try to apologize to him, and the messages that I left were apologetic. I would like to actually sit down face to face and apologize with him, because I think he deserves that. I'm waiting to hear back from him.
I want to move a little bit into the ethical questions now of some of the things you said during the traffic stop. You said, go ahead, write me a ticket. I'm the one who's going to prosecute myself. You know what I'm going to do with that ticket? ? What would you have done with that ticket?
Jen, I said a lot of things that were not pretty, and that I'm ashamed of, and that I'm embarrassed by, and I'm sorry for. But I sent the ticket in by 1 o'clock the following day and pled guilty, because I was speeding.
I think people might hear you say that, and they might say, gee, have you ever fixed a ticket for yourself or someone else before?
Absolutely not. I've been in local courts, helping, because we've had a DA shortage. And when citizens come into, the court that I was in, I would give them parking tickets on speeding tickets if they took a defensive driving class. So technically, I guess I have given offers to people out there. I wasn't even going to get a special prosecutor and ask for that courtesy for myself. I was just going to, take my lumps and pay my ticket. I had a clean license.
Technically, the situation was an arrestable offense. That's what we've been told. You didn't stop. So it looks like you did get special treatment for being the DA.
I get back to, I made a mistake. I'm owning that mistake. I'm being accountable for that mistake, and I'm sorry.
I have to ask because, we sort of got tipped off on this early last week, and we started making some calls. Your statement comes out, and your statement says, I had no intention of using my position for a benefit, and no one is above the law. Yet it very clearly looked like in that video you thought you were above the law. Did you not think that the body camera video was going to come out?
The first statement went out for the sake of transparency. I wanted to make sure that I was being transparent in what I did. I've always been very clear about, what I've done in this office. At that point, I wasn't even thinking about the body-worn camera. I just wanted to make sure that it was out there that I got pulled over by the Webster police and I got a speeding ticket and I had pled guilty to it.
Have you ever called a chief in the community before for a favor like this?
No.
Have you ever asked someone to not write a ticket for you because you're the DA?
No.
Have you gotten tickets before in Webster? Do you think that you can still effectively be the district attorney here in Monroe County? And do you see yourself still prosecuting cases in a courtroom?
I would ask the community for my forgiveness. I would ask them to look at my 32-and-a-half-year career. I would ask them to look at how I handle cases, and especially to look at the last year and the cases that I've prosecuted for this community, and judge me on that, not judge me on for what I did that afternoon. It was terrible. It was a bad judgment call. I made some mistakes, and I wish I could take them back, but I can't. So now I own them, and I will be responsible for them, and whatever happens, I will take the consequences.
Did you ever consider resigning?
No. I was elected to serve this community, and I will continue to serve this community.
A majority of the city, county, and state lawmakers from our area have called for sort of these outside independent investigations into your actions, both criminally and ethically. Do you welcome those?
Absolutely. I welcome anyone to look at what I did. I welcome anyone to look at the circumstances, surrounding that day and judge me like I do every other case that comes into this office. We judge criminal matters on the individual facts, what happened that day to that person. We look at the character and nature of the defendant, whether or not there was a victim, and I just ask them to treat me like that. Again, I can't tell this community enough how embarrassed and sorry I am.
The governor has weighed in on this. She has directed the Commission on Prosecutorial Conduct to investigate. You will be its first investigation, and it's my understanding that you initially did not support even the existence of this commission. So how do you sort of balance that in your mind about a statewide investigation by an agency that's fairly novice at this?
And just to be clear, I served 4 times as the president of the District Attorneys Association, and that was one of the issues that we were talking about, whether or not there should be a Commission on Prosecutorial Conduct. There's also a grievance committee. I'm agreeing to self-report to the grievance committee. I welcome any investigation. I will cooperate and, handle whatever punishment is handed down to me, because I am truly, truly sorry.
How will you earn back the trust of this community?
I want the community to look at what we do for this community. I want them to look at the good work of the members of this office. They are in court every day fighting for victims and making sure that our streets are safe. And I will continue to lead that. I will continue to make sure that we are doing what we need to do in order to improve the criminal justice system in Rochester.